How's it going, YouTube? Don here. In this video, what we're going to talk about today is why you shouldn't learn iOS development. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I'm a big fan of iOS development. In fact, I am an iOS developer. But in this video today, I just wanted to talk about some of the cons of learning iOS development, because I do feel that if you are going into this field, then you should know some of the pros and cons to getting into this space, because to be honest, there's quite a bit of cons, and while there is a lot of pros, there also is cons. So what you guys want to do is you want to go in with the complete picture. You just don't want to focus on the pros. You also want to focus on the downside and the cons if you want to make an educated decision on what to pursue and if you want to learn that. So, we all know the cons, or the pros rather. I'm not going to talk about them in the video, so I'm going to go straight to the cons. So the first con here is the lack of jobs out there. And this is especially valuable if you are in a downturn economically like we are right now. If you see, based on the economy right now, how we're going through a recession and, tech companies are laying off a lot of people. If you look at the job descriptions and the job postings out there, there are simply not a lot of mobile developers out there, mobile positions out there. And this also goes with freelance, right? If you compare the amount of mobile developers or mobile developing clients, rather, that are looking for mobile help, as opposed to, say, your full stacks, your front ends, your full stack web developer and back-end developer and all that different kind of stuff, demand is night and day, right? So that's one of the first things that you have to consider is, even though, they do get paid higher, there is a lot more opportunities for you to have a specific freelance iOS career, because, having a freelance iOS career is a little bit more lucrative than, say, your web development, because your client, your cost per retainer is going to be a lot higher. So you got to get work full client with fewer clients, which means that you have less to worry about. That means you can vet more. But anyway, that's not the point of this video. As opposed to, say, the full stack ones, there's just not a lot of them. So if you're like in the entry level, it might not be the best idea to go after mobile. You still want to be open to it, but if you want a job as soon as possible, then that's something I don't really highly recommend. So the second point that I want to make in terms of iOS development in particular is the walled garden. So what do I mean by the walled garden? As we both know, Apple is very, 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 very restrictive, right? So if you want to develop, if you have a Windows computer, if you have a Linux computer, that ain't going to work for you. Sure, you can use some emulators and whatnot, and you can emulate a Mac OS, but at the end of the day, it's just not worth it, and it's too much of a headache to actually deal with. Now, you could tell me that, hey, I could buy an iPad and I can code on an iPad, but honestly, I've tried coding on an iPad, and it's something that you can do in the short term, but I wouldn't have coding on an iPad as a long-term project, right? The libraries out on an iPad and on Swift Playgrounds is just not lucrative and not good enough for you to have a full development suite, right? You could build like small projects here and there, but if you want to take advantage of different libraries out there, Firebase, Alamo Fire, etc., 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 Swift Playgrounds just isn't good enough for that, right? So the next thing that I find that is a negative when it comes to iOS development is flexibility, right? So flexibility is going to be the one thing. Like, for example, if you learn JavaScript, you can go into full stack development, you can go into mobile development with React Native, you can build back-end stuff, you can build front-end stuff. The possibilities are endless. Same with Python. You can do data science, you can do machine learning, you can do artificial intelligence, you can do server-based work. The possibilities are endless. Whereas if you learn Swift, you learn iOS, you learn Xcode, you're pigeonholed into this one specific area, right? So those are the main three reasons that I think that it might not be the best idea and why you shouldn't become an iOS developer. Obviously, as one, there are definitely pros to learning iOS development, but make sure you take into consideration these cons before you start and you jump into the deep end and you start to go on a rabbit hole in terms of iOS development. So, if that video was helpful, don't forget to hit like, comment, tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below, and most importantly, make sure you subscribe, as it really helps support the channel and lets me know that you enjoy content like this and encourages me to continue to make good content like this. So, without further ado, I'll see you in the next video.